Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you two are at the center of the world and you fit. Okay, this morning today's talk is the crossword, the Zen crossword, or the crosswords of Zen. We all know what crossword puzzles are. My wife loves them. I mean, she every morning I have to do my crossword. Every morning I chant the Prajna Paramitra Heart Sutra, and she does a crossword. But they are not that different. I don't do crosswords. I don't like induced puzzles. I don't like jigsaws. I don't like crosswords. I don't like to create a tension so I can get released from the tension. Why bother? I have enough tensions in everyday life. I have enough crossword puzzles in everyday life rather than create them. But that's okay because we all have our little crosswords. We all have our puzzles that we create. We all have our, well, I like British mysteries, and what are they but a crossword? I mean, a puzzle. Who did it? So you sit there and watch it for an hour, watching the detective figure out who did it. There's not really any difference between that and doing a crossword puzzle where you try to find the word that stops the puzzle. See, the crossword master is not different from a Zen master. He induces tension. And so in order to get release from the tension, you have to work the crossword puzzle. You have to go through the maze. You have to question your assumptions. So, see, crosswords are all based on, just from my observation, they're all based on assumptions. You assume something, and then you try to find the answer according to that assumption. But the crossword master is trying to trick you or give you false assumptions. So it's always pointing over there, but the answer is over here. So you have to go all the way out there to the end of it, and you say, this is a cul-de-sac. This is a dead end. Nothing I do here is any good. No word fits. So you go back and you question your assumption. So you go back to the original question, and you question the assumption that you had that led you off here. And there, when you question the original assumption, boom, you're on the right path. You get the word. So the word appears when you question the root assumption. And this is true in everything. I know in my life, when I lose something, what I lose is always on the other side of my original assumption. But I can't see through my assumption. The assumption is like opaque. Our assumptions are like a wall. And so we just can find the answer while we're inside the wall, but we can't. But what we're looking for is on the other side of the wall, but we can't get to it because our assumption creates a wall, an opaque wall. It's like a fishbowl. I use this in my writing all the time, or the fishbowl is a metaphor or an analogy of the mind that shapes the water and the life of the fish in the bowl. So if the bowl is square, the fish is going to swim in squares, never questioning and wondering why it keeps bumping into the wall. You know. So he's going along and boop, and he goes along and boop, and he goes, what's causing this pain? You see, and he starts blaming the other fish or the water or maybe the stuff in the bowl. But he can't question the bowl because he assumes. So suppose the bowl is in a lake, and the bowl is made up of our assumption. So we swim in patterns because of the assumptions that we don't question. If we were to question the assumption, look directly at it without any assumptions, we would swim right through the assumption, because the assumption is created by my own mind. So if I can look at it, I'm looking at it with a clear mind, which has no assumptions. And I could swim right through it. It's just not there in solution. My separation from the world because of the bowl, you see, is an assumption. We don't question it. So this is the Zen crossword. So the Zen master, or Buddha, the Buddha is a Zen master, a Zen crossword. He creates, in other words, Buddhism, in Zen Buddhism in particular, induces the puzzle, induces the crossword, induces the tension, so we can work with it and break through our basic assumptions about reality. Now, what is, we all say, that we say, oh, the world is, all the non-dualists out here. Speaking of non-dual, so in case you're just dropping in, I had a skin cancer removed, and it was kind of deep, had deep roots, and I thought it was a pimple, and it was the size of a quarter. So she had to cut all the way down here to get the skin to cover up the quarter hole, you see. So she said one side of your face is going to be younger than the other because the skin is stretched, and I'm so happy I'm going to have a dueling saber wound like a count, has a saber wound, a dueling wound, a badge of honor. So I'm looking forward to this coming off, and I'll be able to show you my badge of honor. All right. I keep myself in stitches. That's another good word, stitches. I'm all stitched up. He stitched me up. Okay, where was we? Where were we here? The Zen crossword puzzle. So I say, why create an artificial puzzle like crosswords and jigsaws and all these little puzzles we do, words and all this stuff people get fascinated with, why just go to the original puzzle of that light that is your consciousness. Your consciousness is a puzzle. Your very consciousness is a crossword puzzle. Now, crossword is another interesting. Is the word one that crosses you to the other side? Is the word that you're looking for to cross over to the other shore? Or does that word make you cross? You see, that's a Zen fit. Are you having a fit, or are you fitting? Is it where nothing fits, and then suddenly, boom, everything fits, but it's the same fit, you see? So this is we're working with the idea of the fishbowl. Our consciousness is an assumption. Our consciousness is an assumption that shapes the way we think, the way we see the world, our viewpoint. Our viewpoint is an assumption, unquestioned, you see. Is the truth unquestioned? So by not questioning it, we believe that the world we see is the shape it is in because of the way I shape it, because of my uninvestigated assumptions. So that's all Zen is. I talk about Zen this and Zen that. Zen is just directly questioning the basic assumptions you have about who you are and what the world is. Now here's the basic assumption of Zen. I'll give you a secret. The basic assumption of the Western world view that was really created with the Age of Enlightenment, the age of science at the end of the Middle Ages. That was a worldview, the Middle Ages. The modern world, that began with Newton and, I'll just say Newton and Descartes. They kind of like shaped the bowl. Descartes shaped the Western mind, collective mind, the mind we swim in, the fishbowl mind of the West, you see, as a dual mind. He said, and he had to come to some way. How do you work with, when God is dead, what do you do with God? Descartes said. In the Middle Ages, if you wanted to do anything, you had to go to God. But then with the science, if you want to get an air conditioning, you got to go to science. God isn't going to help you there. You may pray to get it. You may pray for cool weather, but why not make it? So in other words, Descartes had to solve the puzzle of what do you do with God when science is functional, when science works, you see, to control the world. Before science, you ask God to control the world. Certainty. In other words, the world was in a religious fishbowl, a fishbowl of faith in the Middle Ages, and now it was in a fishbowl of empirical reasoning. Everything is a thing. Everything is matter. So what do you do with God, and what do you do with the mind? So Descartes said, okay, we'll just divide reality into two. Okay? There is an extended substance called matter. It's the world, and it's real. And there is a thinking substance that is your mind, where you live. So there's a thinking substance, and there's a material substance. Now we'll give religion the domain of the thinking substance, and we'll give science the domain of matter, of material, atoms, cells, brains, you see. So this was called the Cartesian split. And it enabled the modern world to function with both God and science. But depending on science for control and certainty, and God for values. So anyway, this Cartesian split of reality is an assumption. And here's the basic Zen fit. We assume, now just listen, just work with this, think about, we just automatically assume without question that the world out there is real. There are things. There's a lamp, there's plants, a chair, shawl, things. I name it, it's my shawl. Things, all there. And they're real. My hand's real. I can hit it, you see. I assume, I believe without question that this world is out there. Well, then who am I? Well, I'm kind of like an appearance. I appear in the world. Now, I'm talking about the inside of me, your subject, your thinking self, your secret I, your inside, your intimate, inner. Well, you're kind of like, I appear in the world for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and then I'm gone. But the world stays the same. We assume that. The world, I come into the world, I hang out for a while, and then I go. And the world stays the same. It was there before I came into it. It was there after I leave. It'll be, the world is here. It's the earth. It's the stars. All that. It's there. It's real. I'm an appearance. Is that true? We assume it is. We don't question it. So by believing that assumption, I create my sense of being in exile. I create the feeling of not being home. I'm lost in the world. No matter where I go, I never feel completely at home. There's always a rub. Something's missing. Discontent. Buddha called this suffering. It's the suffering of separation from the world. But that a separation from the world is an assumption. It's just not questioned. There's no option to question it. It's not on the table. No option, no question, no, you're just not there. It's not on the map. So the fish can't question the fishbowl. So this assumption of separation, where never the twain shall meet, goes all the way back to Genesis, where God is God, man is man, nature is nature. This is the big Trinity, and they're all separate. Suzuki said, when he came and brought Zen to, he said, God is against nature, God is against man, man is against God, man is against nature. Funny religion. So you see where the problem is, that our worldview, our fishbowl, our assumption world, our crossword, you see, puzzle, is that we believe the world is real and I'm an appearance. But the flip, you see, the Zen flip, the Buddha flip, is the sudden realization that I am real and the world is an appearance. I am real, you are real, and the world is an appearance that changes around you. You can see this by going to a GPS navigator. On the flat map, the map is real and I move on it like an ant. But on the GPS navigator, I am the center, the X spot, and the world, the map, boots around me. If I move, the world changes. Wherever I go, I'm always at the center. On the flat map, wherever I go, I'm always on the outside. So am I at the center? Am I the center of the world? Is Blackstone the center of the world? Is where you are the center of the world? Or is the world what's real and you're just a thinking substance? A thinking substance that's very temporary, you see. So these are the assumptions we have to question. And we all have experiences called spiritual experiences, samadhis, brief flashes of insight, when suddenly I'm real and the world is an appearance. In all these non-dualists on social media say, oh, the world's an illusion. The world is an illusion, but no, the world's not an illusion. What's an illusion is that you're separate from the world. That's the illusion, this sense of separation. You are the world and the world is you. But at the same time, you need a map where you can fix your motorcycle or catch a bus, in other words. That's a functional map that you need in order to fix things, but it is not who you are. It's a function. It's not the essence. We miss the essence, you see. The essence is you. I am real. And Buddha frames it as I alone among heaven and earth. I alone am the honored one. What is he talking about? Some big ego? No. It's a shift in viewpoint. It's a shift in viewpoint. So when Hakun says from the very beginning, all beings are Buddha, what is he talking about? All beings are a Buddha, walking around a Buddha. No. All beings are Buddha means all is a shift in viewpoint. From it to I am. But we need both. We need a world of it so we can fix them. But at the same time, I need to be I am. I am real. Anyway, that's my Zen Fit for today. Thanks for dropping in.